All right, so what I'd like to do is give a review of this foil board from Foil Inc. or getfoil.com. I've had it for 2 months now. First of all, what I have here, I have the 5'8" board here, not the carbon. I have the fiberglass model. I have the 170 high aspect forged wing. And then from a motor perspective, this is the R motor, the race motor. Battery-wise, this is the larger battery. Let's start with a summary. I hate leaving that stuff to the end. So just, overall review, this is a great board. This is a ton of fun. I've never had an eFoil before. I can't compare this with other eFoils on the market, but I can absolutely tell you that this thing is a blast to ride and absolutely worth the purchase. I'm not new to water sports, but I certainly am new to eFoiling. From an experience perspective, kiteboarding, kayaking, paddleboarding. Let's talk about assembly. So this is pretty simple. There's only 6 bolts that hold this whole thing together, which is really great. Simple connections. Let me show you how that's done. And that's it. Pretty simple. Easy to do, a couple of minutes. Let's talk about durability for a minute. Paint in particular. I have put a couple of dings in the board. First 2 weeks I dropped it just from a couple inches, but having not moved one of these things around, it's just big, awkward, heavy. All eFoils are. So it's pretty easy to bang it on something if you're not incredibly careful. You might notice if you looked on the website, it doesn't look exactly like mine. I've got black on the nose. I've got some black over here. Basically what I've done is I painted over a couple dings and scratches that I put in the board. Again, no big deal. I've also put a little bit of 3M guard on the nose because I like to pivot it off the nose when I'm picking it up. It just makes it easier. I think a little protection on the board is definitely helpful. Battery life. So website says between 2 and 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours, something like that, from battery life on the extended battery for an experienced rider. I am not yet what I would call an experienced rider, but I'm riding for an hour to an hour and a half, and I typically still have 30% of the battery left at the end of that session. So, personally, I hate charging batteries. I hate things that I have to charge all the time every night. I would absolutely recommend the extended battery. It's why I wear a Garmin watch. The thing lasts a week. I don't like things that run out early. It'll also help your learning. If you've got a battery that lasts longer, you're not coming in to charge the battery, switch batteries, anything like that. Batteries aren't cheap. So having a single battery that lasts, a reasonable amount of time, a couple hours legitimately, I think is absolutely worth it. Here's the controller. This is the stock tether that comes with that. It has a breakaway piece on it. I'm not really willing to lose the controller, so I've added an accessory onto that as well to make that a little bit easier to hang on to. This is a kiteboarding line, 800-pound test kiteboarding line, so I'm not going to lose the controller. As far as the controller goes, nice big color screen. I'll turn it on here so we can have a look, and it's really easy to see. Even with polarized glasses, even in bright sunlight, I can see this no problem. It gives you speed and all of that. The controller has multiple speed modes, 1 through 15. I've been riding on speed 7 and 8, and that puts me somewhere in the 13, 14 mile an hour range, maxing out at 16, 17 miles an hour. I have bumped it to speed setting 9 and speed setting 10, and it's a little more than I can handle currently. We'll see how that goes. The idea that this thing can go 25, 30 miles an hour, I think, is absolutely realistic. This is incredibly convenient. Just slap the controller on the side of the battery, and it charges the controller. The Bluetooth connection. So the controller here, the controller talks to the foil over Bluetooth. And there's been a lot of discussion about that Bluetooth connection being a little bit of a challenge. Basically, it's talking Bluetooth to the battery. All the electronics are actually in the battery. There's nothing in the board itself. And what that means is the controller is talking to the battery, to the Bluetooth module in the battery. And And if you put the board underwater, you're going to lose that Bluetooth connection. Now, a lot of folks have said they lose the Bluetooth connection all the time. Frankly, this has happened to me like a total of 5 times in 20-ish sessions. I just simply don't have the problem with that. I don't weigh a ton, so I'm not putting the board underwater all the time. But it seems pretty easy to keep the nose out of the water. Even when the board nose does go underwater, when I'm getting on the board or not throttling up enough, I find that the Bluetooth connection only drops some of the time. It's very rare that I have a Bluetooth problem. There are some foils out there that claim to be incredibly perfectly silent. This one is not totally silent. There's absolutely a motor noise that you can hear while you're riding. If there's wind, you don't really hear it a ton while you're riding. Final thoughts, what do I really think of this? I think it's a spectacular board. It is an absolute ton of fun. Can't compare it with other eFoils particularly. I haven't ridden any other eFoils, can't compare any other wings, but I can tell you that this one is a blast. I've essentially had no real issues with it. The controller works, the battery lasts an incredibly long amount of time. Would I like the paint to be a little more durable? Yeah. Other than that, like I said, really no issues with it. I would like it to be quieter. I would like, a totally silent ride. That would be great. But when you look at the price point that this foil, that Foil Inc. puts their boards out at, their base level board, it's half the price of the major competitors. So, when I look at that, this board is a no-brainer to me. Let's go ride. All right, we're going to pick it up. I'll show you carrying the eFoil, and like I said, it's a bit to deal with. Not crazy heavy, but heavy enough. Battery compartment here. So really simple. Gonna go ahead and put the battery in. Battery's heavy, no joke here, 40-ish pounds. But one connector, that's it. Basically just plug that into the battery, tighten down our locking nut, and we're good to go.